Hi, I'm Doug Flegg. I head up business development for Reunion Gold, and I'd like to thank Red Cloud for hosting us here at the conference. We're an exploration company. We operate in the Guyana Shield. The reasons for this: we have a very experienced team that has found, financed, built, and operated mines in this region. From a geological point of view, it's very similar to West Africa in terms of geology, and it's elephant country, so it's our area of focus. The main focus behind the company right now is what we think is a major new gold discovery at Oko West. Oko is a historic alluvial mining camp, but very little work was ever done to try and find the source of the alluvial gold. And with the alluvial mines pretty much played out, the owners of the claims have now seen fit to option them to mining companies, and that gave us the opportunity to put a land package together and go in and see if we could find the source of mineralization. From an infrastructure point of view, very importantly in this area of the world, so the project is in Guyana, which is the north coast of South America. Infrastructure point of view, it is road accessible, which is very important. And from a geological point of view, it's an orogenic gold system located on the contact of a granite to the east and greenstones to the west. When we first came in, we did back in 2019, we did geophysics to identify the contact, and then a soil geochem survey. You can see from this map on the right-hand side, the red areas along that contact mark gold geochem anomalies in the soil, and the yellow areas are areas of historic alluvial mining in the creek beds. The green would represent the topographic high, so the streams would be flowing to the east in this particular spot. So it's quite obvious coming out of this that we had something going on in terms of the clues of both the soil geochem and the alluvial mining. We followed up that geochem survey with a trenching program and hit very good gold grades over good widths in the trenches, and that basically led to a drill program which we financed early in 2021, so early last year, and started drilling in earnest in July of last year, and we've been drilling ever since and expanding the program. So we're now about 65,000 meters, roughly, of drilling on the project. And the net result of that is we've uncovered gold mineralization, as you can see from this grade model, over about 2.5 kilometers at the north end of that contact. So the contact runs about 6 kilometers. So far, we've just been drilling the northern 2.5 kilometers. We've got the grades highlighted on at the top left corner are from our last press release. So as you can see, the grades here are quite high. It will be an open pit deposit. Our initial 8 bottle rolls were averaged about 90%, so the metallurgy looks like it's going to be pretty good. And we do have saprolite intact as well, which can be very profitable ore as it's free digging and highly oxidized. That gives the center of gravity of the deposit is the Block 4 area, which is outlined in pink there, which are the higher gram meter areas. We've drilled that particular area. We did a test hole down to 575 meters. We hit at 575 meters, 70 meters of 3.7 grams. So that was a pretty good clue that this deposit was going to continue to depth. So the current drill program is to basically step out below the areas outlined in the colors there that we've already drilled, to continue to add as many ounces as we can down to that hole that went to 575 meters deep. We now are operating 5 diamond rigs and 1 RC rig. We have $49 million in the bank. So with the rate that we're drilling now, we have enough money to allow us to drill at that pace through to the end of 2023. So we are well funded. This gives you a section of a cross section through that deep 575 meter hole. Very typical of the geology. It's a tabular ore body, as you can see here, slightly dipping to the east. In the footwall, there's a granite, and then you come into a sequence of intercalated sediments, metasediments, and with some granite sills intruded, and finally back into a footwall granite sill. And right along that footwall granite sill is a shear zone, and the mineralized zone is running 80 to 100 meters on the hanging wall side of that footwall granite. You can see a dashed line near the top there that marks the saprolite interface. So the saprolite is running roughly 80 to 100 meters deep. It moves up and down, but we have the full saprolite phases intact on the project, which is a big advantage to us in terms of it would be if this became a mine and in production, that would be the starter pit. So that area that we were talking about there is basically the area denoted by the blue rectangle. If you look at analyst estimates, they're suggesting that there could be 3 to 5 million ounces in that area. That represents 2.5 kilometers of that 6 kilometer long contact along the granite and the volcanic. And as you can see, there's also geochem anomalies to the south and additional alluvial mining going on to the south. So we've stepped out now with a campaign of RC holes on 400-meter centers to do some scout drilling to the south to see if we can uncover additional centers of mineralization to the south. You'll notice to the west there, marked number 2, the Bryan zone. That's also a topographic high area which is draining to the west. You can see some very significant areas of alluvial mining that have occurred downstream of that Bryan zone. And again, it's an area that has never seen a drill hole. It happens to be an area that's covered by about 10 meters of a pretty thick laterite called Duracrust in that area. So we just had come to site a Scout RC rig that is capable of doing 30 to 40 meter holes. So we're going to go in there in the next couple of months and do effectively a geochem survey with that Scout RC rig to see if we can find maybe another center of mineralization there that might be the source of that source rock for that alluvial mining to the west. In addition to the exploration we're doing, we're also advancing other studies. In particularly metallurgy, I mentioned the initial 8 bottle rolls at about 90%. We have contracted G Mining to help us. They helped us plan the second level of metallurgical studies. So we have right now 40 samples in the lab in Georgetown, which cover the 3 different weathering profiles and all the different lithologies in the mineralized zone so that we can do some variability testing. We've done a dry season environmental baseline and a wet season environmental baseline study. We're doing some geotech work, particularly in the granite high wall, and that'll be important in helping us determine what the ultimate pit slope angles will be, and obviously the steeper we can make the pit walls, the lower the strip ratio. And we've also signed an MOU with an interesting company out of Toronto called InStream Energy, who has a system of modular run-of-river power plants. And they stick them together they just keep adding as many as you need to get the megawatts. One thing that Guyana has, given it's in a rainforest, is lots of rivers, and we have two very large rivers within 30 kilometers of site. So they're in country looking for potential spots that they could put these modular power plants in, which would be advantageous to us both from a cost point of view, in that we could get it at probably 10 cents, but also from an ESG point of view, not using hydro rather than diesel gen sets would be a huge advantage for us. So in terms of what's coming, we've just added the 5th rig now, so we're drilling at an accelerated pace. On the Karuni zone to the north, we'll continue to step out on that Block 4 area where the center of gravity is, but also on the edges in Blocks 1, 5, and 6 to see how many resources we can build there. And we'll look at as I mentioned, we're starting to do some scout drilling in the south, 3.5 kilometers of the contact, and to the west. We'll get results from the more detailed metallurgical studies. And now that we've been a bit distracted by this project for the last couple of years, but now that we have things in hand a little bit better, we are starting to actively acquire additional exploration projects in Guyana and Suriname, which is that's what our bread and butter is here. So that's basically the story.